First item is discuss purchase of fire boats. Gene, you want?
I'll be glad. I know a few weeks ago the mayor mentioned this in reports, and he'd asked me, prior to that I was out of town, asked me to work up a quote. We've looked at boats several different times and different things we can do. I don't want to speculate about the past, but I think we realize that there is a need to be more prepared and have more resources for that type of situation that we're all familiar with. So there's, best of I can count, probably 400 plus private boathouses that are in our coverage. 3,000 acres of lake, in addition to the two marinas. County Park, which was about 60,000 to 70,000 square feet of roofed, covered marina, and then Goose Pond is probably 250,000 square feet of covered marina. So there is that need. The mayor's suggestion, I think, a few weeks ago was that 2 boats would be appropriate. I agree with that based on this boat or a quote similar to this boat, similar to the boat that you have a quote for in front of you, which in just a little bit of briefly, so the 20 and 1/2 feet open, 115 horsepower, reasonably quick but not overly fast, fire pump, some rescue areas, platforms and things of that nature. It would, having 2 of those, and those of you that have enjoyed our water realize from Goose Pond to County Park may not be that far by the Crow, but it's a pretty good trip coming upriver and back into the cove. So having a boat at each of those in each of those areas. Most of our boathouses are in that Roseberry County Park area, City Park area, and in that lake. And then obviously the large marina at Goose Pond, and the boathouses that are just south of Goose Pond, also, in addition to all the hundreds of people that come to fish and pleasure boat. So you can see this this quote, which is, when you start looking for fire boats, if you're not careful, you get into 6 figures and sometimes big 6 figures real quick. So I'm familiar with these boats, same type, style boat, actually same manufacturer that the rescue squad uses, same manufacturer of the boat that came up from Gunnersville to help us the other night. So again, this would be my recommendation. That's roughly what, $113,000 worth of boats. I think we would be able to find some partners and some funds to store those boats on the water, which would give us a premium access that we need. We have one, logistically we have to trailer it, creates personnel staffing problems trying to get a boat there, adds time to our response. So again, two's the ideal situation. I understand that's a lot of money we're asking for right here in the middle, so, and you guys have a better picture of that than I do. But if you got any questions about the boat specifically or how we would operate or anything else, then I'll be happy to address those.
As far as staffing, I guess the guys will be in-house or once they do it, they'll be trained to do it. So how many are you looking at, 2 for every shift? On the 20?
We would train everybody. So the first, for those of the first step would be to make sure everybody had a vessel license for the state. The Coast Guard has some training courses, and the Alabama Fire College has a marine firefighting course. It's a 40-hour week course. So all of those things relatively easy just to process to go through. We can certainly do that in our training budget, but for us to be as best as we can, we would need to train everybody.
And you mentioned, as far as where they're going to be stationed at, are you looking at Goose Pond possibly, and then one in County Park?
I think, yeah, County Park, City Park, there are a couple of options. I don't know the best place to do it. We just have to kind of work out those details. I think one thing to be concerned about or aware of, if it needs to be a separate slip, and we realize that on the 27th, boats that were in that set of boats were useless. So, you know, but I think we could work through that. I know Goose Pond has been willing to work with us on things like this in the past, and will probably be happy to work with us some more. So, again, city park, county park, wherever, just in that Roseberry Slough that we can have access.
Does the city not own a piece of property on the Lakeview Shore side?
I don't know who owns it. There's a lot of what they call employee lot that was donated, I think, from the Word family or something years ago.
Not be available for use.
Right. Yeah, it's jointly with the power board and a whole bunch of other people.
Okay. That just stuck out in my mind, that wouldn't be separate, you know, across the water from.
As far as financing on the boat goes, I talked to the commission chairman last week, and county commission is, told me that they would pay for one boat.
That's one point to that. These, however we get them, I'm tickled with, but they need to be bid together and purchased together, so that there's a sanction. So we're not learning two different vessels and trying to operate two different animals. This particular boat, I think the mayor mentioned the other day, was roughly a 12-week lead time from order to getting it. There's a bid process that would have to go on, obviously, in front of that, so that's, you're probably talking about 4 months turnaround once we decide to do this. But that gives us plenty of time to make sure we got all our ducks in a row too, so.
Chief, I know these pumps, they actually drop in the water, they have a cage to prevent them getting clogged and everything. But the pumps are dropped in the water and it's fed with lake water. But is there any way to add fire retardant to it? Like, I know you don't use halide anymore, but the fires like we had at County Park would have to have had.
To be honest, I don't know, and I mean, we could, but possibly we would see some advantage from adding a foam solution or something to that stream, but honestly, I don't know that advantage, because you're going to carry so much product in the boat. I don't know if that advantage is going to outweigh the cost to it.
Gene, if the county could, for some reason they couldn't make that commitment, and we could only do one, how would that affect you though?
It's gonna put us, it's obviously one's gonna be better than 0, so, not good with numbers, but I got that one. But it's just gonna hinder, I guess, our deployment to a large degree. Just again, the layout of the lake and the river and our coverage, it's not beneficial to put it at one spot. If it's a Goose Pond, you need a county park or vice versa, then, you know, that's adds a 15 minutes plus, I don't know, that adds 20, 25 minutes to get in there. So we got a trailer, which still adds several minutes to dedicating a person to trailer in a vehicle in a hurry, safely, but in a hurry, to a boat ramp. And then really need 2 people because it takes that many to launch a boat. So it's just, it's gonna, we would have to work through that. We would, and but we would not be near as effective.
I know that Gunnersville's got 2 boats, and, you know, their marinas are not all on the same side of the city, so to speak, different scenario. You know, and that was our objective, is to not single out one particular area that was important more than the other. Like Mike said, I've had conversations with 2 county officials, and they both have expressed that they would participate. And I said, if we could just get a letter of commitment, so that, you know, whenever you can, you know, like I said, we're looking at a, you know, 4-month process anyway, and we just want to be proactive.
I think we need to move forward, getting bids on 2 boats, and these boats will be property of the city. And then if the county commission wants to donate money toward that, so will we do it.
How many men does it take to man that boat?
Our model would basically be at either one of those two locations, if the boat is stored there, moored there. We got 2 to 3 guys on an engine, either at any point in time. So those 2 to 3, this boat's slightly larger than Gunner's with older models, so we could do 3 people. Would basically drive the fire truck to the slip, get on the boat and man it from there, in general situations. Everything's gonna be a little bit different. I mean, if you're dealing with a large marina, then we need some guys on the ground, we need some guys in the water. We're gonna obviously have more than one fire truck, but, you know, we see a lot of, we don't get calls because we can't respond. We occasionally will get a call, medical emergencies on the water, those sort of things, sometimes a boat accident. And in the past, we've just basically commandeered. We've been lucky enough that a fisherman helped bring somebody in or help carry us to them or whatever, you know, we didn't really have any capability. But that would be the model, at least until we decide that there's a better option, but that's how I envision it working.
What's the annual cost, you think?
The cost is gonna be minimal. I mean, I don't know what a boat service is. Our training, once we, excuse me, reach those certification levels, that's an in-house keep-up training, so that's not really a cost. You know, a service on the boat motor, which is, I'd say that would be absorbed into our maintenance budget very easily, because I don't imagine that's filters and plugs and things like that every once in a while. It's something we don't run into.
We need to get with the Goose Pond Board and have them write a letter stating that we'd be able to put a boat down there, and also,
We've already had that discussion. We can get a letter from them.
or have them come to the next work session, which would be March the 2nd. I'd rather do that probably. And also the county commission have someone here, or either have them submit a letter stating what they would like for us to do as well, if they're gonna be able to participate. We can do that on March 2nd too. Any other questions?
Chief, as far, I mean, and I appreciate you being proactive in this and trying to get these folks, because I do think we need them. But as far as those docks go in county park, where do those inspections fall under? And as far as being under guidelines that need to be, that we need to make sure that things are done properly down there.
Well, just as a point of, I guess, general knowledge, the biggest part of the code enforcement or code compliance, I guess, happens at construction time, just like anything else. And then so at that point, it's the code that applies at that time. As far as recurring inspections, we have inspected those docks in the past. There was one in 2012, one in 2016, because those are county property and county owned, and as what's the proper term, it's a different political jurisdiction. We don't have the authority necessarily to go in and code enforce like we would the movie theater. We have done that upon request and will continue to, and certainly offer any guidance or advice we can. Who has the responsibility is, other than me saying not me. I mean, ultimately, the state fire marshal has the authority. I don't know exactly how the responsibility falls, so.
The county park is owned by the Jackson County Commission. The Jackson County Commission is an entity of the state of Alabama, just like the 2 school boards are entities of the state of Alabama. Our zoning rules do not apply to the state. Our building rules do not apply to the state. So the state building commission, the fire marshal, are the entities ultimately responsible for the statutes. Of course, we help.
And we're proud to help anytime, and again, I don't want to go on and on, but as this thing closes up with investigation and more of that's done, we're working pretty aggressive with the state and with the LEA and the Fusion Center to put some packages together so that we can see a total timeline, a total comprehensive view of everything that happened from all the different agencies, from start till 3 or 4 days ago, whenever they got done. And at that point, I think we'll be able to, we, all of us together, look at some recommendations, maybe of things that should and could be done differently. But I don't want to get ahead of ourselves and start doing things different and then see this information and say maybe we weren't right. So.
Anything else for Gene?
Thank you.
Thank you. Go to item number 2, announce the museum commission vacancy. Ms. Phillips.
We have a vacancy on the museum commission. This is a 5-year term. Anyone interested should apply over in to the city clerk's office by 4:30 p.m. on Monday, February 24th, 2020.
Thank you. Go to item number 3, discuss surplus property. Mayor?
You're back, everybody got a
Yes.
card now? We had been approached by a developer looking at developing some property, and the city has some adjacent property that they're interested in. It's literally a ravine, and I question why, but it comes back to landscaping and other things. But anyway, we're in the process of getting this appraised. And so I just wanted to open it up for discussions. The appraisal, the city actually, if you look at the service road there, the city property actually goes over to the right of the service road as well. And all they're interested in is the property to the left of this service road. And as Josh and I had talked about, the city would have to, if it was sold, deemed surplus, there'd have to be, besides an appraisal, surveys done, so we keep incurring some cost before we could actually surplus it. So, there's a couple options out there on this. We could go through all this process and then just take offers, sealed offers on the property once we've identified everything. Or there's a possibility, like we did some other property, transfer it to the Commercial Development Authority and be done with it.
I'll put it on next week's agenda, if that would be sufficient. Any questions on that? Go to item number 4, discuss AEDs. Chief, you cover that?
I'm willing to. Should have this information in your packet from Whitney. 2008 or 9, we bought a bunch of AEDs and put them in various locations throughout the city, which is a very good thing. But we reached a point where the pads are expired, reached their expiration date, and the batteries are at the end of their life, including the one at the police department, which is at the very end of its life. So my recommendation would be that we purchase pads and batteries for each of the 6 that are listed. City Hall, Civic Center, Library, PD, Senior Center, and the Boys and Girls Club. I think there's 3 or 4 additional, maybe more than that are in the recreation department that Yvonne maintains. Is that right? Yes. So, but these others are just kind of floating around without really a oversight or anybody on top of them. So I would just propose that I think if we're going to have them, we need to make sure they're working. And total cost of that was about $1,470. I assume we'd take a budget amendment somewhere. I think y'all discussed that, agree. And then I would be happy to facilitate it and putting them in and installing and all of that.
Any questions on that?
The 3 that you have, are they in the same shape as these, or are they?
We keep ours, we try to keep ours changed out.
It's new, we're fixing to do them all at the same time. That is.
Any other questions?
Be above the number.
Yeah. Be just under administration.
We'll move it to next week's agenda. other reports, Mayor?
If you'll notice above your head, Mr. Bailey's head, we got one monitor in, it should go up today or tomorrow. Tomorrow, and hopefully, by the next council meeting, the agenda and any documents that we have, the public will be able to see as well. And I think Ms. Wilkes is gonna run the machine.
You just get on behind
And if you notice coming in, we've got our new message board up and it's current, so that's good. And then I think the police department, where'd the chief go?
Thought he was here. He's here. Anyway.
They got a new, in front of the municipal court, police department, they got a new electronic board installed. Really good. That's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Bailey?
I don't have anything tonight. Thank y'all for coming.
Mr. Ashburn?
I don't have anything, thanks a lot.
Mr. Stewart?
I don't have anything either, thank y'all for being here.
Mr. Mashburn?
I was just gonna make mention, and I talked to Josh earlier about it, about the turning lanes at County Park, and that's a good road. And I mentioned to him also about looking when we redo 72, as far as the medians around, I think Blake Wright's insurance and Carlisle's, about striping those turning lanes in the medians. So, thank everybody for coming out. That's all.
I will do a go back, all right? We did meet with Aldott last week before. Anyway, within the last 2 weeks, and they're gonna be doing some resurfacing of Highway 72 this spring. And, so they'll probably wait, I think all that through there is gonna be resurfaced. And,
Yeah, hopefully, and that's what you
Yeah.
talked about, trying, you're gonna email and see, so hopefully we'll save on some confusion.
Yes, exactly.
Thank y'all.
The only thing I have a question, since we were talking about the new batteries for the defibrillators and all that. The tornado warnings, I know several years ago we had to replace batteries and all that. How are we keeping up with all that?
Well, we contract for maintenance, that was put into our fire department budget several years ago. So there's an annual maintenance for the council benefit. And I had mentioned that there was one that was destroyed over behind the high school with a vehicle accident. So we're working on a price now, and we need to go through the insurance company to have that replaced. But we're down one right now, and that maintenance is actually scheduled to come around again. So hopefully they can do maintenance and replacement and all of that, and we can do it a little bit cheaper.
Thank you.
Proper road, yeah. Normally the other ones is battery replacement, unless the lighting unit, something like that.
That's all I have. I appreciate everybody coming out tonight. I'll see you next week. Thank you.